Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu continues to stall on responding to the latest Gaza ceasefire proposal put forward by Egypt and Qatar. Reports indicate he is leaning towards rejecting the deal, determined to press on with the occupation of Gaza and pushing the military to speed up its timeline. Netanyahu remains firm on refusing to halt the war and insists on the release of all the detainees at once, rejecting any partial agreement. Meanwhile, growing protests inside Israel demand an end to the war and a deal to release the remaining detainees, adding fresh pressure to an already tense situation. What lies behind this delay? Is Netanyahu prioritizing military objectives, stalling to secure decisive gains on the ground before considering any agreement, or is he using this delay as a strategic bargaining chip amid mounting international pressure and domestic pressure as well? I'm Hala Al-Hamalawi. Welcome to In Depth. While Netanyahu has yet to respond to the latest ceasefire proposal on the table, Time magazine highlighted Netanyahu's endless game, noting that Israel's latest plan to fully occupy the Gaza Strip reveals it's not a plan to end the war, but rather to never end it. Nearly 2 years, the war has stalled, and Hamas is no longer capable of functioning as a governing force. The news outlet highlighted that instead of de-escalating, Netanyahu is pushing for further operations, even though experts agree that everything achievable by force has already been accomplished, even as Israel's top military leaders oppose the move. As reported by the Time magazine, Chief of Staff Eyal Zamir warned that attacking Gaza City risks the lives of the remaining detainees and could thrust exhausted troops into a death trap, an unusually public rebuke. Egypt and Qatar advanced a new ceasefire proposal, which Hamas accepted. Netanyahu delayed, then vaguely supported the talks, while simultaneously approving a full Gaza offensive. The Time reported that this contradictory stance effectively blocks progress, offering delay instead of negotiations. Netanyahu's strategy remains the same: avoiding clear choices, keeping all the options open, and prolonging the cycle of war with no resolution in sight.
As Israel launches a major operation to seize control of Gaza City, the world is still awaiting Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's official response to a new 60-day ceasefire proposal put forward by Egypt and Qatar. Despite mounting global pressure and a deepening humanitarian crisis in Gaza, Netanyahu shows no signs of backing down. Reports suggest he is unwilling to pause the military campaign, even as negotiations to release Israeli detainees remain on the table. The proposed deal includes a 60-day ceasefire, the release of 10 living detainees and 18 bodies from Gaza in exchange for long-held Palestinian prisoners. But Netanyahu maintains that any agreement must meet Israel's demands, primarily the complete defeat of Hamas and the return of all detainees, not just some. Recently, he reaffirmed plans to capture Gaza City, despite facing both domestic backlash and international condemnation. Meanwhile, pressure is intensifying at home. Massive protests in Tel Aviv are growing by the day, with demonstrators calling for a ceasefire and a comprehensive detainee agreement. Within his coalition, far-right voices are urging him to reject any pause and instead pursue full annexation of the enclave. With famine now officially declared in Gaza and international patience wearing thin, Netanyahu's silence is sounding louder by the hour. The question remains, will he choose war or a window for peace?
Delving more into this, we're joined from Washington by Mrs. Ginger Chapman, lawyer and political analyst. Welcome, Mrs. Ginger, to Q News. Always a pleasure having you. Now, let me start by asking you, what does Israel's plan to fully occupy Gaza suggest about Netanyahu's long-term goals? Does it indicate a strategy to prolong the war rather than resolve it, or is he just buying time?
Well, thank you, Hala, for having me today, and greetings to your viewers.
Thank you.
And what we are seeing is a strategy by Netanyahu to just prolong the war. He is stalling, he is buying time, and ironically, Netanyahu is running out of time as Gaza, Lebanon, Iran, and Syria, as all of these come to a head, in addition to his domestic crisis. He's ironically seeing protests at home. However, some of the people are protesting that he's not moving fast enough in Gaza, and then the families of the hostages are protesting that he's not doing enough to bring them home.
So, Mrs. Ginger, former U.S. State Department spokesperson Matthew Miller recently admitted that Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu had planned to wage war against Palestine for decades, even while his government was officially engaged in ceasefire negotiations in Gaza. To what extent is this long-term intent reflects Netanyahu's current ambiguous and shifting policy towards Gaza?
Well, Hala, we wonder if it has been shifting or if this was the greater project, the plan all along. We do know now in America that Netanyahu has been engaged in a pattern of deception for at least since the Clinton administration, where we now, from leaks from the Epstein files, we now realize that Bill Clinton and Ehud Barak, the former Prime Minister of Israel, were featured prominently in the Epstein files. This is one of the reasons that back in the 1980s, Yasser Arafat was somewhat taken advantage of by Ehud Barak and Bill Clinton. But to get back to the present, this is the culmination of Israel's long-term plan to completely take control of all of Gaza, displace and expel all of the residents, all of the people of Gaza. Netanyahu's running out of time. The IDF, the soldiers, are now refusing to show up. We hear that almost half of them are refusing to show up for service. The reservists. Also, we have the long-running problem where the Orthodox are not showing up for service. The military generals are resisting Netanyahu's plan to stay in Gaza City, because this is a failure for them. They are not succeeding. They've been there for almost 2 years, and they have not succeeded in accomplishing any of their goals in driving out Hamas. The only thing they have succeeded in doing is persuading the United States to be complicit in their genocide, provide Israel with the bombs and the weapons they are using in order to kill and displace the people of Palestine and Gaza.
Yes.
What we are seeing at home now is somewhat very significantly, the Center for Constitutional Rights in New York has just filed a lawsuit against the Trump administration. They filed it Wednesday, August 13th. And this lawsuit is to force the Trump administration to reveal their role in the financing of the Gaza Humanitarian Foundation. It's a private nonprofit registered in the state of Delaware. However, the Center for Constitutional Rights has warned them that they could be legally liable for their complicity, their participation in Israel's war crimes, crimes against humanity, and ongoing genocide. And the suit they filed against the Trump administration is the continuation of a Freedom of Information request. We want the We want the Delaware Attorney General to investigate the Gaza Humanitarian Foundation to look for funding ties. Their funding is a mystery. However, if an investigation reveals that their ties have links to any of the groups behind Trump's Gaza Riviera development plans, then this could be evidence of graft, which is essentially evidence of graft is the least of our worries. What the American people and voters are concerned about is the infiltration of the Israeli lobby, Mossad, into the highest echelons of our government. This is why we now see, for example, fringe figures, people who were considered radical, extreme fringe figures such as Laura Loomer, who has now convinced the State Department to stop allowing private groups to bring Palestinian children, to bring children from Gaza to the United States for medical treatment. This is one more sign that the Zionist AIPAC lobby has infiltrated the Trump administration. They have managed to purge moderate members of the Trump cabinet, much like they did, much as the deep state did during Trump's first term.
Yes,
So
but I wouldn't be surprised, Mrs. Ginger, if the Zionist lobby is actually infiltrating the U.S. administration, regardless of who is the president. This has been going on for decades. We all know that. And thank you so much for raising this very interesting point, and also for linking the past with the present. They always say that in order to foresee the future and understand what's going on in the present, you need to look a little bit back at history. So I have more questions for you. But now we're joined from Ramallah by Dr. Ashraf Akka, political analyst and international relations expert. Thank you very much, Dr. Ashraf, for being with us. Now, why has Netanyahu delayed responding to the ceasefire proposal, which has been accepted already by Hamas? And how does this align with his recorded pattern of using, I would say, strategic vagueness to avoid committing to any definitive end to the war?
Yes, there are some political reasons to stay in control, and there are some threats if they went to this bargain, but he didn't just have a blockade on Gaza, but he also has some internal purposes, especially that his partners are supporting this goal. And from the very first second, he doesn't want a goal, he doesn't want an agreement, a partial or a full agreement even. He just wants to reach this time frame with the goal that will give him more chances to stay in control, maybe up till now, or like in spring, or up till the spring of 2026. And so when we think of Netanyahu's goals and tactics, when we look at things internally, in my opinion, I think that there is an agreed upon a project between Netanyahu and Trump about this goal, which has to do with the future of the Gaza Strip. And Gaza Strip, it is of benefit for both sides. And this benefit, they have like a mutual vision. They want to get rid of Hamas. Israel wants to get rid of Hamas, and they will also reach their goals, about security and politically also. And Trump gains economically too. And so when we read well how Netanyahu thinks, he doesn't think alone. He has a partner, a full-on partner who is known as Trump, especially that this partnership is based on goals and benefits that have to do with the Gaza Strip. And so any agreements or any proposals, they don't really mean for both sides reaching their goals that have to do with the future of the Strip.
Yes.
Because Netanyahu insists on ending Hamas, and ending Hamas doesn't allow, he doesn't want to allow any other Palestinian groups to go back to Gaza. They want either to take them in and have Gaza be fully vacant for them, and they don't want them to return the Palestinians to their home.
Mr. Ashraf, as Israel earlier launched a series of airstrikes on Yemen's capital Sana'a, causing explosions across the city, why is Netanyahu insisting on launching military strikes that further escalate tensions in the region?
In my opinion, I think that escalating the escalations that Israel are doing, this is very planned and very well studied. They want to enter with huge strikes, and he is hoping, this is supported and also funded by the USA. We can't justify Israel's doings that they are doing it, on their own. No. We can say that Netanyahu wants this or that Israel wants this. No. The USA also, they feel that the region is rejecting the USA's vision in the region, and the USA benefits also, and they need to look at the priorities of the region, like Egypt, Saudi, Iran, and Turkey, and all the Gulf countries and the other countries in the region. And so when we read about this escalation and we look into it, with Netanyahu going here and there and striking different places, he is just waiting for this moment where things are blowing up in all the region, and he is using the support of the Western countries, especially the USA, so that they can start a new occupation to get more of these regions, to get, and so we don't think that the USA can stay put in the international competition like Russia without its full need of taking over all the Middle East, and even they can expand to Western Asia, and including also the corridor between Nia and Khartoum. And this shows how the USA thinks. And so there are also strategic levels also to see why they are doing this. Like Yemen, Gaza, and Syria, they could start worsen this, and they can also restart the war again with Iran. And so, in my opinion, I think that we need to look at the whole picture strategically, and not just look at Netanyahu with his policies as if he's the one making the goals.
Yes.
It is the USA actually, and it is Trump that's in control. And I think the USA's administration is one of the hungriest and greediest, and they could have stopped the war from the very first minute, but they need to get benefits from the countries, especially that they had economic holdback with Russia and with China, and so this may push things for further extremist purposes, from the USA side, especially like what they did, escalating things in Yemen. They want to impose their goals again on the region, and still they have goals to make the most out of the region.
Okay. Mrs. Ginger, we spoke earlier about statements by former U.S. State Department spokesperson Matthew Miller. Now, Miller also revealed that former Secretary of State Antony Blinken warned Israel's war cabinet at the outset of the conflict that without a clear post-war strategy for Gaza, Israel risks facing a prolonged insurgency. With Trump now back in office, is Netanyahu repeating past mistakes that could jeopardize Israel's national security, or is he consciously choosing a high-risk path?
Yes, well, Hala, Netanyahu appears to be choosing the high risk path intentionally. And this is because he feels that he has the unconditional support of the United States, the backing of the United States military, politicians, and the support of the American people. However, for the first time, his support and Israel's support is plummeting rapidly and dramatically in America. And your other guest makes the excellent point. This should all be viewed against the larger backdrop of events in Syria, Lebanon, and indeed, it appears that Netanyahu is planning another strike on Iran, even after the damage that they sustained at the end of the 12-day war. So Netanyahu appears to be feeling that this is his last chance. It's now or never for Netanyahu. He has to make progress towards his greater Israel goal. He has to seize territory from his neighboring countries in order to keep himself out of jail on the corruption charges he's facing at home, in order to, and he's using the war to stop the trials that he's under at home. And he's also using the ongoing active combat in Gaza as a way to stop the Israeli people and his own cabinet from abandoning him, and from his cabinet and his government from falling apart. So Netanyahu, he's risking it all, putting it all on the line right now. And he needs American backing. He feels that right now Trump is the best president that is going to give him unconditional support militarily, financially, and to the alarm of the American people, we see that is what is happening. And indeed, Trump appears to be, I don't want to use the term delusional. However, on the one hand, he's talking about the Nobel Peace Prize. Oslo must be noticing that he's stopped 6 wars. Now he's stopped 10 wars because he's stopped 3 wars. However, the entire world is watching the ongoing horror, slaughter, the carnage and chaos in Gaza, and the United States is complicit in it, which is why we have in America, because of our rule of law and order, our heavy reliance on the legal system, we now have at least 4 court cases against the Trump administration going, the constitutional rights case. However, and the last thing I will mention is just this week, Trump announced that we are now taking on Maduro in Venezuela. He has just sent aircraft carriers and warships and 4,000 troops to Venezuela, because this is our new, this is Trump's new attempt to win the Nobel Peace Prize. So there is a lot of conflict at home, lawsuits. We have towns in America that are now voting to divest and divest from Israel and condemn Israel. As we've seen, Trump has threatened these towns, saying, if you act against Israel, I will withhold federal funds. He cannot do that. This has gone to court. He cannot withhold federal funds for towns speaking out. But this is a threat that shows how extreme the battle in America is becoming over Israel and over America's role in the Gaza Humanitarian Foundation and the slaughter occurring in Gaza and in Palestine, the ethnic cleansing in the West Bank. So things are coming to a head in the United States if the people of the West Bank and the people of Gaza can just find some relief.
Yes. Back again to you, Mr. Ashraf. Now, Israel now faces 2 difficult and costly choices with Netanyahu's intentions to further implement the latest occupation plan. Do you think that Israel's Gaza takeover plan is the best choice among tough other options?
No, it's not the best option. First of all, there are a group of notes. First of all, this operation could make the Israeli military lose a large number of soldiers, wounded and dead. if they go on with this operation. And also it could be the end of the Israeli prisoners that are with Hamas, and also after this, the large economic losses that the Israeli economic is facing. And there is an operation to have 20,000 soldiers ready, and they have also 60,000 soldiers as backup, and so this is very costly. And add also this on the politically and diplomatic level internationally, because this means that they will they won't be respecting the pacts between the Palestinians and the Israelis, and they will also have the world denounce Israel's actions further, because Israel wants to reoccupy again, and this will be very costly economically, because they will have to deal, and they will be responsible for around 2.5 million Palestinians that need all kinds of aid, medically, they need food, they need education, and so on. And so this will be a very large responsibility on Israel's shoulders. And this is very costly. And in addition to this pushes the Israeli administration to do some suicidal decisions, because if they have occupation, they are provoking Egypt, they're provoking the whole world if they push the people south, if they force them south. And this will also be very costly. But if we look at the nature of Israel's USA's goals and the religious levels also on the other hand, meaning occupying Gaza again, destroying their military, because they may think that these Zionists, they will see them as Zionists, they will think this is a historic chance, as the great wars that happened before, the ones that had also religious aspects. And so yes, I agree with you. Israel has two options. Either they can agree on a truce and leave it up to Egypt and the Arab countries to reconstruct Gaza and take control after that and give them aid. But who said that Israel can choose peace? Israel, for long years, and with Netanyahu, for example, he is showing off with when he failed the two-state solutions. And so he actually made lots of agreements not get complete, and like what happened in 2017.
Yes, I allow me to interrupt you here, sir, because I want to go back to Mrs. Ginger quickly, because unfortunately our time is running short. I want you to give me a short answer for this question now. Israel actually. Inside Israel, the Israeli families of the detainees have appealed to Trump, urging him to apply the same determination that he shows towards resolving the Ukraine conflict, to ending the war in Gaza as well. At a time when Trump and Netanyahu seem aligned in their approach, how can the U.S. president help Netanyahu make a wise choice on Gaza?
Well, Trump has to restore his credibility with our negotiating partners. We saw in the past when Hamas released Edom Alexander, and as a response to that gift, Trump did not make good on any of the imputed promises. He took that goodwill gift and consumed it, and Hamas got nothing in return. Trump needs to, and he will be forced to by the American public, he needs to think about the conflict, and he needs to think about Israel differently. Netanyahu is going to drain American resources, blood, money, and most importantly, goodwill. Israel is becoming a leper on the world stage, and America is the only country standing with Israel. But things are changing. The only question is, will they change in time to save the people of Gaza?
Yes.
Trump really needs to wake up to the resistance he's getting from the people of America. This is unsustainable. It will not go on. And in the long run, this is going to damage and weaken the Netanyahu government. It remains to be seen if Israel itself can survive what is happening now.
Well, I'd like to thank you so much, Mrs. Ginger Chapman, lawyer and political analyst. Thank you so much for being with us. And also Mr. Ashraf Akka, political analyst and international relations expert. Thank you both for your valuable insights. And ladies and gentlemen, this concludes today's episode of In Depth. My name is Helal Hamalew. I'd like to thank you so much for joining us. Stay tuned. The top stories coming up next.